Well, hello, all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land, and welcome to the Texas Special YouTube channel. Excuse me. For this in-scale product review, or rather locomotive review, we're going to take a look at my vintage, lifelike Union Pacific GP20. Now, this locomotive has been featured a few times already on the channel, so I'm not going to do a review run on this. We're just going to do a straight review, take a look at it. I'm going to walk you through some of the features that it has and whatnot, and starting with the box. So, to get it out of this lifelike jewel box, you squeeze in, lift up, and the lid comes off. Now, leaving it in the box just for the moment, you can see dependable transportation, the 474, Union Pacific, and 474 here as well. And there's 474 on the number boards up here and back here as well, along with UP in red above the number boards back here. Now, all the numbers match on this engine all the way around. You can see the trucks have some brown to it, and that was actually, and a little bit of brown here and some brown up here. That was actually my very first ever attempt at weathering a locomotive, and that's actually permanent marker ink that I just kind of dabbed on and then smudged around. The hand railings are a flexible plastic, acetal type plastic, a little oversized for scale proportions, but again in scale, so not very much wiggle room there. You can either have scale hand railings that are barely perceptible and fragile as all get out, or you can have oversized hand railings that look kind of toy trainish, or you can find some kind of a happy compromise, a middle ground, I guess you could say, with these. And while they are a tad oversized for scale proportions, they look right. They are not, You have some cast-on grill detail along the battery boxes. You have cast-on grills here, all along here, here, and here, and also on the dynamic brake blister. Excuse me. You got a molded-on cab shade here. You have some nice silver trim around the windows here. You have very good detailing actually along the trucks. Everything that's should be there is there. The only exception is there's no wire running to the speed recorder. I don't think there actually is a speed recorder on this thing. The pilot is very nicely done. You have one-piece pilot. The pilot is all part of the frame, and there is actually a little bit of separation in between the stairs, the individual steps on the pilot. It's not just one chunk of plastic. When we take this thing out of the box, you will see that it does have those, well, one of its Rapido couplers still. The other one is, who knows where it went. I've had this engine for, God, 15, maybe 20 years now. And quite literally until a year ago, it was sitting in a box of train stuff in my garage, in amongst a bunch of other boxes of train stuff, and I just happened to stumble upon it. So looking at the top of this thing, you can see the cooling fan here. You see another fan, exhaust stack. The fans are a little too tall, but not so much so that it's obvious and toy-like to the average modeler. A purist, a die-hard rivet counter, yes, it might bother them. You have the dynamic brake cooling fan here. Of course, all the fans are cast onto the locomotive body. There is no curved grab iron here on the rear of the long hood like you're used to seeing with excuse me, EMD locomotives, but is what it is. And you have this nice green paint job right here on the nose of the locomotive. And something I neglected to mention, the paint separation between all the various colors on this engine are uniform throughout, nice, clean, and neat separation. We've got a 3-chime air horn. And if we look at the rear of the locomotive, you can see a one-piece handrail that's actually trying to come off. I'm going to have to do something about that here in a little bit. You do have the MU hoses, of course the rapido coupler. You have a crossover platform and safety chain that's all attached as one piece, part of the hand railing right here. You've got a grab iron right here, and you've got a footboard on either side of this rapido coupler. You have the operating headlights. The number boards are illuminated, as I'm sure you may or may not have seen in some of the videos that this has been featured in if you've been watching the channel for a little bit. You do have some safety tread, some stippling on the walkway, simulating safety tread on all the walkways all the way around this locomotive. And coming around to look at the front, you see more of the same with regard to the MU hoses, the grab iron, brakeman's steps here, hand railings. But you also have the UP 474 and Union Pacific spelled out in block letters wrapped around the front of the locomotive, as well as cast on marker lights here and here. There is also windshield wiper blades cast on to all the front windows of the locomotive, to include on the door on the front of the cab on the conductor side of the locomotive. So, as you guys, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, like I said, and you've seen this engine running already, you know it's a fairly decent running locomotive. It has 8-wheel electrical pickup, so you have electrical pickup and traction throughout the entire wheelbase of the locomotive, which really helps it get over switches and, you know, dirty track and all that stuff. It is a DC locomotive. There is no DCC on board, but it's a good solid little locomotive. It's a great pulling engine, and if I was still in scale like I once was a few years back, you know, I'd probably go through the trouble of trying to upgrade this to DCC and, you know, upgrade the coupler. But this engine pretty well just lives here at the TexLa Model Railroad Club, because that's really where it's needed. There's not a whole lot of in-scale equipment laying around to run on our in-scale railroads, so I just leave this here so it can be used as needed for open houses or things and such of that nature. Thank you all for watching. I hope you found it entertaining. Texas Special out.